Hey, welcome into the Snap. Mack and Landon here, breaking down for you a Thursday football preview. We're also going to help you navigate some tough decisions, what to do with players on the same teams. For example, Travis Etienne and James Robinson. What do you do with those guys? What side do you pick? Landon and I are going to give you our takes, and then at the end of the episode, get into the mailbag segment. Lando, what's going
on? Mac, I'm doing really good. Doing great. We're here to answer any kind of tough questions you have, and what to do with Jamar Chase. Can you actually buy him low before Thursday Night Football? We'll get into everything. And if you're watching this after the fact, comment down below. We answer every single question. So if there's tough start sits or trades, let us know. We'll get back to you and hopefully give you the best advice possible. Mac, I'm doing great. I'm excited for Thursday Night Football, and let's get into it.
Oh, I think I'm having some internet issues over here.
Yeah, looks like it. I didn't.
Can you hear me?
I got you back now. But it looks like you are frozen on the screen. But
hello. Can you hear me?
Here we go. I got you back.
All right. Okay, I think we're good. Sorry about that, folks. I don't know what's going on here. Looks like we got some internet issues going on, but we are jumping into some Thursday night preview. We're doing some what to do with, guys from similar teams like a James Robinson, Travis Etienne. Which side do you pick? Also getting into your start sit questions. You can get them to us for the Thursday night game. You can get us to us early for the weekend game, but we got you no matter what. We'll get to those questions at the top of the hour around 9 o'clock. Lando, let's jump into the Thursday night preview. I see some really good questions like what the heck is going on with DJ Moore. I would love to chat about that. So Madeline, we see that question, but we will get to you at around 9. Thursday night preview. We've got a pretty good one here. Two really interesting offense, really, really fantasy relevant. The Cincinnati Bengals and the Miami Dolphins. What do you think about this game, Lando? We got the Dolphins on the road taking on the Bengals. They are 4-point road dogs. Cincinnati, 4-point favorite at home. Typically, you get about 3 for home field. So really, this is about a 1-point game. What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be good. I think I picked the Bengals to win, to upset the Dolphins. So I'm hoping for that. I believe in Joe Burrow and his team. But there's a lot of great pieces. All wide receivers almost are must starts. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, phenomenal starts. What do you do with Tyler Boyd though, Mac? He had a great game, and some people might want to know, what do you do with Tyler Boyd? Is he just a 1-week wonder, or can you trust him?
It's tough, right? Because he comes off this really, really great game, 105 yards, got into the end zone. But you look at the target share. He only saw 5 targets, 26.25 yards per completion. This is way above the norm. Somebody like Tyler Boyd, who's more of a shorter field type player, gets him on intermediate routes, is really only seeing about 10 to 11 yards per completion. So to go more than 2 times that is just out of character for him. So I will look at the larger sample size with Tyler Boyd, understanding that he is the third receiving option in this offense, that he is behind Joe Mixon in a lot of cases. And if anything were to happen to Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, different story. But for Tyler Boyd, I don't think he's flex worthy for this given week against the Dolphins.
Yeah. And we got good news that Joe Mixon practiced in full today. He should play, which is great. He went out last week with an ankle injury. But on the other side of the football, Chase Edmonds, he had a really good game. And he was drop worthy kind of before Sunday. is Chase Edmonds a guy you can trust? He only played 44% of snaps. Mostert is still heavily involved, but we did see him get the touchdowns, 21 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. Are you riding the heater that is Chase Edmonds?
Well, it's funny because I talked about in last week's waiver video that Raheem Mostert was a must add because the snap share that these two backs have totally flipped. In week 2, Raheem Mostert grabbed 55% snap share, whereas Chase Edmonds was 51. And the week before, it was 63-42. So there was a sort of changing in the guard, and Raheem Mostert continued to get on the field more. It actually, that disparity got bigger. But who was more productive? Arguably Chase Edmonds. Neither of them were very productive, if we're being honest. But Chase Edmonds, 6 attempts, got into the end zone twice. So very, very touchdown dependent. I'm looking at the volume. I'm looking at the opportunity. I think over the long term, Raheem Mostert's going to be the one that wins out if he's on the field more. But there's no denying that if you are a Chase Edmonds owner, you are frustrated with him so far through 3 weeks.
I do want to shout out everyone in the chat. We will get to your questions later. Twan, I see you're coming in here. Corduroy's coming in. Mitch, what's going on? Eric, Tesh, we have Albert, Madeline, Jacob, Joshua, Chris Timmons, Snap Army member. Thanks everyone for coming in. We will get your questions. We appreciate the support. The channel is growing, and we are thrilled to have some people in here on Thursday night.
Yeah, we're going to do a 9 o'clock Q&A.
Yeah, absolutely. 9 o'clock.
20 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so starting with the Bengals, Tyler Boyd, we say not flexible. Your auto starts are Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Mixon. Are you rolling out Joe Burrow?
I am rolling out Joe Burrow. I think he had a good game. He finally got some protection, which we really need from Joe Burrow. And I do think that Jamar Chase has a bounce back week. He has seen some kind of low, not low volume, but only had 29 yards this past week. It got saved by a touchdown, kind of got saved not saved by touchdown week 1, but should have had more touchdowns in week 1, had a really big week. But I do think they can take advantage of Miami. Miami does have a good defense and a pretty good pass rush, but I think that they will highly utilize Jamar Chase. He'll get back into the 16 to 17 target pace that he was on. And T. Higgins, I'm a big fan of as well. So I think with both of those weapons, he should have a fantasy relevant game. I'm talking like 250 and 2 or 3 touchdowns for Joe Burrow.
Funny enough, the Miami Dolphins are giving up the most to the quarterback position in fantasy football through the first 3 weeks, 26.3 points per game in a 4 touchdown passing league. So giving up a lot to the quarterbacks. They're also giving up the 12th most points to opposing wide receivers. And the Bengals are about as good as it gets in offensive prowess from the wide receiver position. So I would expect that Joe Burrow is busy. I do expect that there's a big bounce back game from Jamar Chase, which would be great to see. Let's talk a little bit about Jamar. I know we got him in the title here. What do you think is or has been going on with him the past couple weeks? Why is he not getting the workload that we all thought that he would get going into year 2?
Number one, every wide receiver has bad games. We've seen Justin Jefferson have 2 consecutive bad games. It's frustrating. Not everyone is Cooper Kupp and Stephon Diggs, and they will also have bad games. And you're not panic selling those players. It just happens that we've seen a couple now from Jamar and a couple from Justin Jefferson. I do think that nothing is wrong with Jamar Chase. Right. Joe Burrow's thrown interceptions, which he's not used to throwing. He's not getting the protection. It's nothing wrong with him. It's all about just the way the scheme has been going, and he's had some close touchdowns that should be scores. He's getting a 28.5% target share. His target rate is 25.9. Is playing basically every single snap, 93% snap. He is playing some work in the slot, not a ton, but he's really, really phenomenal. He's a great player. He's got 300 air yards, which is number 16 in the league. Like every stat is showing that Jamar should be a screaming buy. Now is the chance that you can get Jamar because he's not on the heater that Cooper Kupp and Stephon Diggs are, but he's close to that. Like he's right on the verge of getting that kind of fantasy production. Looking forward, Miami this week, Baltimore that gives up a ton. New Orleans is going to be a tough one, but then you have Atlanta, which should be smashed. I mean, things are going to look great for Jamar Chase, and you should be knocking on the Jamar Chase owner's door if you can before tomorrow to try to start him against Miami.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point with Joe Burrow. Like, Joe Burrow's struggles has been a product of Jamar Chase's struggles. Him not getting the protection that he needs, making some bad reads. Jamar Chase is only seeing 77% catchable target rate. So basically a quarter of his targets are deemed uncatchable, something that he shouldn't grab. So that's on Joe Burrow, not on Jamar Chase. The other thing that I point to is through 3 games, Jamar Chase has 5 drops. That's number 1 in the NFL among active wide receivers. So that's something that he's got to clean up. But he also kind of struggled with this last year in the beginning of the preseason. It was the biggest headline of the entire offseason. Like, oh, the 5th overall pick is struggling to catch the football. And that went away really quickly when he started to torch NFL defenses week after week after week. So I think this is just a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. They got to get things right. And this is a perfect spot to do so against a defense that is just giving up a ton. Are you playing Hayden Hurst at the tight end position? Are you streaming him this week?
No.
I am not either.
What about Gesicki?
No.
No.
I think we can jump over to the other side of the ball. We said Tyler Boyd was in my opinion, not a flex-worthy candidate. If you play in like a 14 to 16 team league, you're probably having to start Tyler Boyd. It is what it is. But if you're in 12 or shorter, I think you're okay to pass on Tyler Boyd this week. Other side of the ball, you are playing Tyreek Hill. You are playing Jalen Waddle. Does the buck stop there, though?
Yes. I mean, I will consider Tua a start. I know you're not a big fan of Tua, but I do think that he is an option so far. I mean, you have some really big names that have not produced, like Russell Wilson, like Tom Brady. That I mean,
Aaron Rodgers,
that these big names have not produced, and you're losing your matchups if you're going up against a Lamar Jackson type player,
sure.
Josh Allen type player. So I understand going with Tua because you saw that big game, but Mac and I discussed this before the show. He's had the first game against New England, only 15 fantasy points, then Baltimore, 52 fantasy points, and then last week against Buffalo, 13. I mean, yes, New England and Buffalo have great defenses, but that blow up versus Baltimore is accounting for so many fantasy points. So Mac, you get into that because you're really not a believer and you don't consider him an every week smash start, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I'm not a believer. We kind of talked about this in the offseason. Like, if he is to support Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to this, wide receiver 1 realm, he's got to throw the ball about 40 times a game at the very least. And through 3 games, he's averaging less than that. 33 attempts in week 1, 50 in week 2, 18 last week. And albeit he was a little bit banged up against the Bills, only threw it 18 times on a 93% snap share. So it might feel like he missed out on more of the game than he did, but in actuality, he didn't miss much time other than like a drive where Teddy Bridgewater came in and threw a pick, which is hilarious. But this is the way I look at it. Tua Tagovailoa has played 12 quarters of football. He's thrown 8 touchdowns. 4 of them came in 1 quarter. So we just have a very outlier quarter accounting for a big portion of this quarterback's production. And I just want to take a broader scope of his production, try to see what it is for what it actually is without any clouded vision, and just say this guy is a little bit of a lower volume passing quarterback with some great weapons, but is going to have to rely on the bigger plays. I just don't know on a short week coming off a tough performance against Buffalo where he got banged up, if he's actually healthy enough to go and be relevant for you. He was limited yesterday. He was upgraded actually to limited. He was limited in today's practice on Wednesday. I think playing him on a short week is a mistake. I would rather play a guy like Jared Goff, for example. I'd rather stream the position this week. And I might be crazy, but I just don't feel great about rolling out Tua on a short week after getting banged up.
Let's go through it really quick here. You're obviously starting Josh Allen, Lamar, Burrow, Herbert, Hurts, Mahomes, everyone over Tua.
Correct.
So you're starting Kirk Cousins over Tua?
Yep.
Kyler?
Yes.
Jared Goff, like you just said?
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
Tom Brady?
If Chris Godwin is back, yes. But other than that, no.
Russell Wilson?
No.
Trevor Lawrence?
Yes.
Matt Stafford?
No.
Hey, Derek Carr? Versus Denver. Tough defense.
I'm going to say no.
There we go. So hopefully that gives everyone kind of an idea of the confidence we have in Tua. His weapons are phenomenal. One of the best in the leagues. I mean, both of these offenses have some of the best receiving cores. Mm-hmm. And of course, Tyreek and Waddle can take anything to the house. And there's a huge ceiling, obviously, what we've seen from Tua. But those outliers is very difficult to predict. And they don't happen every game like we just saw against Buffalo. So, I mean, a chance that they dink and dunk down the field and then Chase Edmonds or Mostert runs one in, totally feasible. And if Tua's not throwing for 300 plus passing yards, he's just a tough start. So hopefully we're putting a little bit of cold water. We're tempering expectations for Tua, and we'll see how it goes. And you know what? I hope he proves us wrong. He throws 40, 45 times, but it's such a small sample size for him to actually do that. We need to still see more from Tua.
You brought up Mike Gesicki's name. A guy a year ago you'd be thrilled to stream on a weekly basis on a good matchup. This year, averaging 2 targets per game, a target share of 6.3%. They're using Mike Gesicki as a blocking tight end more so than an offensive weapon. And I can't really blame them because of just how good Hill and Waddle are. What they're able to potentially do with their running backs and how many they have. Like their shift is away from the tight end, and Mike Gesicki is just someone you could drop, to be completely honest with you. Yeah. I don't see how this changes. Like, yes, he is running top 10 in slot snaps. So when he does line up as a wide receiver or as a pass catching option, he's in the slot, he's in a spot to produce, but he's only being targeted 12% of the time while on the field, and his snap share is under 50%. So 12% of 50%, not a good number for fantasy purposes. So I'm just out on Mike Gesicki. I don't see how at this point in time, after 3 weeks, you look at that data and say, yes, Mike Gesicki is a guy I'm going to play. It just doesn't make sense.
Durham Smythe has more targets than Mike Gesicki. That should say just about enough.
Yeah, end of story.
Yeah.
Who do you have winning this game? Bengals, Dolphins?
I've got the Bengals. I like the Bengals winning this game. I think I believe in that it's the Super Bowl appearance of the Bengals still. I think it's going to be a tough one. The Miami Dolphins are a well-coached team. They've got a lot of talent. They're 3-0, right? I mean, they're legit. And I think Burrow and the Bengals have a lot to prove. So I think they're going to come to play, and I'm excited.
In the last 10 minutes here, before we get into your questions, which leave them in the chat as our Sunday live kind of goes, we will get to them in order, and we will do every single question before signing off. We're going to bring up a segment idea we had by one of our Discord members, Snap Army Joker. He said, what about a segment about pairs of players? Like, who would you rather have between guys competing for the same job? You know, like I brought up Travis Etienne and James Robinson, right? So we'll go through. We've got about half a dozen or so that we're going to maybe talk about here and just try to give you some insight as to who we would want and why. So we'll talk rest of season. Let's start with a big one, DeAndre Swift or Jamal Williams. Who would you rather have and why?
Right now, I want Jamal Williams because he's healthy. Swift is going to miss 3 games. We did a video about
Not for
Jamal.
sure. Not for sure, right? Is that confirmed?
It's pretty confirmed that he's going to come back after the bye week.
Wow. Okay.
So not 3 games, just 3 weeks.
Okay.
So not looking good for all my DeAndre Swift shares, but long term, I think it's if you're 3-0, I think it's completely reasonable to try to trade for DeAndre Swift right now. But if you are 1-2, 0-3, having Jamal Williams is such a valuable piece. He's going to get the majority of the work. I don't think Reynolds is going to be involved too much. We obviously have seen the workload from Williams, and he will help you win fantasy matchups this week when people are starting to get banged up. If you have a Chase Edmonds, and I mean, I think Jamal Williams could be a top 12 back this week. It's completely feasible. He could be. I mean, he's locked in for top 20, I think, but he's got the upside because he has so much work this week. So right now, I'm taking Jamal.
Well, Jamal Williams is the running back 8 on the year through 3 weeks with DeAndre Swift in the lineup. He's the recipient, though, of 2 multi-touchdown scoring games, and so there is some touchdown dependency for him, but he is competent through the air. He is productive on the ground, averaging 4 carry, and he's going to get the work. So I think in the absence of DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, a great, plug and play, fill a hole in your roster. Hopefully you grabbed him off waivers 2 weeks ago when I told you to grab him. But I do prefer DeAndre Swift long-term, and you all know why. He's, when healthy, just electric, cheat code, so good, very efficient, very explosive, can do it all. So I do prefer him long-term, but in the short term, Jamal Williams is going to be great. Let's talk about David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert. It looks like Montgomery is potentially going to miss this week, but not guaranteed. Who would you rather have rest of season?
Rest of season, I'll still take David Montgomery. We saw that Herbert was very productive when Montgomery's gone, and we weren't sure what kind of split they would have when Montgomery came back. But Montgomery came back to an 80+% snap share, and he was the dominant number 1 running back. And I do believe he will continue to get that opportunity when he gets back healthy. I don't think this is a long-term injury, so I'm still preferring Montgomery.
I did detail in yesterday's waiver video that as a starter, games where Khalil Herbert in the last, how many games has he played now? He got drafted last year, played 16 games. I should 17 and so 20 games. Been in the league for 20 games. He's played 5 of them without David Montgomery. In those 5 games as a starter, he has averaged 19.6 touches, 100 yards, and half a touchdown. So you're just talking about a guy that has averaged a running back 1 performance when given the opportunity. So now, matchups will play into it. Maybe he's had favorable matchups in those 5. Who knows? But the sample size is decent. So, Khalil Herbert is a nice plug and play, but David Montgomery long-term is definitely the play.
Yeah, and I'm not sure the extent to Montgomery's injury. It's looking like an ankle sprain. That's not a good thing. I hope he's back soon, but we'll stay up to date with David Montgomery, but you can definitely start Herbert in the meantime.
Let's talk about James Robinson, Travis Etienne, a situation that I think on paper, if you just looked at fantasy points, you would just give it as a home run for James Robinson. But I think there's more to it than that. Who do you prefer long-term, rest of season?
It's really tough. And I'm on record that I'm not a huge fan of Robinson.
Correct.
But I do think there is upside to Etienne. Every time he touches the ball, he's explosive. I'm a huge fan of the talent, his pass catching ability. He's not really getting enough talent or enough targets personally. Only 4 week 1, 3 and 3. He's catching all of those, averaging over 10 yards per reception in the last 2 games. So I do want Travis Etienne, but I don't think you can start him with a ton of confidence. I think you can get it for cheap and maybe even on the waiver wire if he doesn't have another good game. So I do believe in the talent of Etienne, so that's who I'm going to pick. But every week it feels worse and worse because Robinson continues to prove me wrong.
Yeah, if you look at the trend over the last couple games, James Robinson getting on the field a little bit more than Travis Etienne. Etienne's kind of bounced up and down, but Travis Etienne only played 43% of snaps last week, but touched the ball 16 times. James Robinson played 58% of snaps and touched it 20. So when we look at who's getting the ball when they're on the field more, when you do the math, it's actually Travis Etienne. James Robinson's the recipient of 4 touchdowns in 3 games. Yes, that's great for his fantasy value, but there's a little bit of touchdown dependency that comes with that. In a game where he only touches the rock 13 times in week 1, he scores twice. And that completely changes how you feel about his fantasy day. So I think long-term, Travis Etienne will win out this job because I think he's the better talent, and I would take him. I would actually try to sell really high on James Robinson right now if I had him.
As the running back 3, you should try to sell him high.
You should.
If you can get that kind of value, like if you can get a top-end value, you go after Jamar Chase, a Justin Jefferson.
He's on a 24 touchdown pace right now. You're just not going to bet on that, but you would sell that in a heartbeat.
Yep.
An even better one, Marquise Brown or rookie sensation Greg Dortch.
Marquise Brown. Dortch is not rookie, right?
Or sorry, did I say rookie?
Yeah, I think you said rookie sensation.
My bad. No,
but,
definitely not. My bad.
Yeah.
The thing with Dortch, enjoy him while he lasts. I haven't really brought him up on the waiver show because we have to fully acknowledge that when DeAndre Hopkins reasserts himself into this lineup, things are going to change. Right? When Rondell Moore comes back this week or next week, things are going to change. So when you take those 2 pieces that are missing from this offense and you put them back into the rotation, a guy like Greg Dortch just kind of gets lost. Do you all remember Andy Isabella? Right. Greg Dortch is great. He's been awesome. Sell him while you can if anybody is interested. If you have people in your league that just look at the box score and say, "Oh, Greg Dortch is averaging 15 a week. Let me get a piece of that reliability." It's not gonna be something that lasts. So absolutely sell Greg Dortch.
17 targets for Marquise Brown last week, only averaging 10 yards per catch.
Let's go Zeke and Tony Pollard. Rest of season. This one might be tough.
This one's a tough one. Pollard looks like the better running back.
If we're going strictly just off eye test, Tony Pollard passes the test before Zeke Elliott does.
He's explosive. I mean, he averaged over 8 yards per carry this past on Monday night against New York, and he looked legit, like extremely powerful.
Yep.
Whereas Zeke is literally half of that, and he looks about half of that. But the thing is, Zeke will get the opportunities, but I think honestly, I'll probably rather have Pollard rest of the season.
I think when you accept that the ceiling for Zeke Elliott is just no longer there, it makes it easier to view him because the name tarnishes the expectation. Right? You just think, "Oh, I've got Ezekiel Elliott. He's been this fantasy stud for me for 4 or 5 years." We neglect to touch reality every now and then. And the reality is that he's not a 25 to 30 touch guy a game anymore. His passing volume is not going to be something that keeps him fantasy relevant. It's going to be, does he get into the end zone or not? If he does, you'll be happy. If he doesn't, he'll probably let you down. And that's the God's to honest truth with Zeke. And they're not running the ball as much as they used to. This Dallas O-line used to be so dominant. Now it's very ho-hum.
Zeke and James Conner are very similar players right now.
At this point in time, yes. It's another guy you should sell.
If you can.
If you can. All right, we're 3 minutes after the hour. We are going to start getting to questions. Let's jump over to Jacob here. Before we do, If you are new to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button. We are trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. Big shout out to all of you who have subbed over the last month or two. We really, really appreciate it, and happy to give you our feedback, all the comments, all the live streams. That's why we do what we do. So thanks for coming by, and let's get to Jacob's here. PPR, Brandon Cooks or Hollywood Brown, I assume, for this week?
I assume you're talking this week as well. So Marquise Brown, they play Carolina, and Brandon Cooks plays LA Chargers, who gave up a ton this past week to the Jaguars. I think some context needs to be had for this past week in Brandon Cooks. He had a bad game. That Chicago field is terrible. I think he was set up for a terrible game script. That happens. These dud games happen for Brandon Cooks. I don't expect him to repeat that bad game. Either way, but I'm still going to go with Marquise Brown. He saw 17 targets. He should see at least 14 or 15 again this week. So I'm going to go with Marquise Brown. He should have had an end zone reception week 2 as well.
Yeah, I will double down on that sentiment. I will go with.
I don't hate Brandon Cooks. Don't get me wrong. He's not a drop. No. He could be a trade away, but he's not a drop.
Madeline G, what's up? What's going on with DJ Moore? Like, seriously, can I drop him? Also, is Hubbard worth picking up? Chuba Hubbard, I would not pick up, but what is going on with DJ Moore? Care to elaborate, Lando?
Baker Mayfield is the elite wide receiver destroyer. That is what he does. He did that with OBJ, and he is doing that again with DJ Moore. I do think that this week there's a really good chance that DJ Moore has a good game. So I don't think you should play DJ Moore. You should bench him if you can't trade him away. But after this week, a big week against Arizona, then you have a chance to sell him. But yeah, he's a bench and then trade away after Arizona.
As long as Baker Mayfield is quarterbacking this team, I think once the big game happens, because look, it will. You go back and you look at DJ Moore's history as a wide receiver. Yes, he's 1,000+ wide receiver year over year. Yes, he's done it with bad quarterbacks, but he has a history of disappearing and then popping. He's very, very boom best. He's very good on his own, creating after the catch, but he has to get the ball first. So exactly what Landon said. As soon as he has that big game, package him, trade him, move on to somebody who's more reliable. I just don't see the upside with DJ Moore this year with Baker Mayfield. And I honestly preseason gave Baker Mayfield way more credit than I probably should have. I thought this was going to be great for DJ Moore, best quarterback he's ever played with. Not the case.
Yeah, I mean, he's droppable, especially if he does the same thing he's been doing. You can drop him. Sorry, guys.
Also depends on your waiver wire. Like, someone asked us this week, hey, can I drop DJ Moore for Chris Olave? And yes. If you play in a shallower league where Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave are just sitting there on your waiver wire, Chris Olave's got back-to-back weeks with 13 targets. I'm going to go with somebody who's getting double the targets in a better offense. Yes, absolutely yes. But everyone's situation is different. So could you drop him in a 16-team league? No. In an 8-team league, 100%.
Sure.
Yeah. Tesh, hopefully we said that right. Would you trade Jamal Williams for DeAndre Hopkins?
I would just hang on to Jamal Williams. I'm not trying to trade for DeAndre Hopkins yet. There's no point. The next 2 games should belong to Jamal Williams, and DeAndre will still be suspended. So hang tight.
Yeah, and Jamal Williams, if DeAndre Swift is out until what's their bye? Week 6, so he'll be back week 7.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long. That's a straight month for Jamal Williams to be a starting running back 1 for you on your team. So absolutely hold out, see what happens. And DeAndre Hopkins, who knows what he looks like coming back. I did see him working at Exos though. He was working out as a quarterback.
If you guys want to be part of our YouTube community Snap Army, join us on our join our membership. So it's free to do. Eric, or it's not free to do. It's only $5 a month. Eric is a supporter. It's only $5 a month, and you get a part of a private Discord server that only a few members are a part of. You get one-to-one close interaction with us.
Traded Chase for St. Brown last week. Have no regrets. I regret that for you.
Oh, come on. St. Brown is the real deal.
If he's not injured.
It's true. It's true.
I know which guy's healthier at the moment.
Well, he traded for St. Brown or when he was healthy.
Yeah.
Either way, anyone can get hurt. Hopefully,
Mitch, I'm a big Jamar Chase fan, through and through. I wouldn't have done the deal, but everyone plays fantasy different, so we'll leave it at that. I can't hide.
Leave it there, man.
I am.
Let it go. Let it go.
Should I do Miles Sanders and Travis Kelce for James Conner and George Kittle?
Keep Sanders and Travis Kelce.
Yeah, exactly. And James Conner feels like an upgrade to Miles Sanders, but in actuality, James Conner is very touchdown dependent. We've talked about him at nauseum. Not somebody I was looking to have on any of my teams this year. And Travis Kelce just head and shoulders better than George Kittle so far this year.
Oh, yep. Easily. Not even close.
Not even close. Should I accept Russ, Michael Carter, Romeo Dubs for Kyler? My other backs are Fournette, Jacobs, and Mostert.
I'm gonna keep Kyler there. I know Kyler didn't have a good game, and we need to really rely on Kyler's legs. But Russ is borderline droppable. I'm not a fan of Michael Carter, and we had one game for Romeo Dubs, so I am not gonna jump the shark here on Dubs.
I am as well. What value would you look to trade Chase away for?
That's a good question. I was gonna ask you that when we were talking about him.
Totally depends on team needs. We had somebody reach out today that was asking about should they trade away Justin Jefferson for, what was it, Jalen Waddle? It was a package. It was a big package, though.
Okay. Yeah,
I think it was like Jalen Waddle, David Njoku, and it was a quarterback. Either way, you look at something like that, and you're like, well, if you don't have there was a quarterback in there too, but if you don't have a plug and play quarterback, if you don't have a reliable tight end, you took a shot on Cole Kmet and now he hasn't panned out, and you had to go to the waiver wire and scrap together somebody. It was like, if you upgrade the other positions, and then Jalen Waddle, dropping from Justin Jefferson to Jalen Waddle at the end of the year, it might be 6 to 7 spots if it plays out the way that we're thinking. Like, if the right package comes along, you take it. If it fills team needs, you take it.
Yeah.
Trading away Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase because they had a bad game or two for somebody who's like a 1-for-1 replacement on your roster just doesn't make sense. Avoid lateral trades at all costs, because the tune on them can change so quick. So yeah, I'm hanging on to Jamar Chase wherever I have him. And after, literally, we could all sit down and chat Friday evening, and you might feel completely different after he goes for 200 yards receiving and a touchdown. Yeah, it's very possible.
Like if Jamar Chase gets you a positional advantage, like it gets you a Kelce and then a solid wide receiver to replace him, He gets you a Lamar Jackson. Say you have Russell Wilson. If you get, would you take
Kelce and Rashad Bateman for Jamar Chase?
Sure. Yeah. If your tight end is Gerald Everett, sure, I would do that. Right. Dawson Knox, whatever. If your quarterback's Russell and you get Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith,
done. Sure.
So that's the kind of value.
If you can win in the aggregate, then I think you should consider doing it.
But you want top tier return. That's what you need back. You need either a positional advantage, or you need to sell him like he is a top 12 pick in your fantasy draft, because he was. And I know that the draft is over, it doesn't matter, but you don't want to sell him lower than his value is. And I think his value should be sky high with the Stephon Diggs and the Cooper Kupps of the world.
I just sold tonight Drake London and Devontae Smith after big weeks for Justin Jefferson, who had 2 fantasy points. I'm a deeper team. This team is shallow. They have Justin Jefferson and basically no one else. And I did a 2-for-1 and sold high. And I don't regret that decision one bit. I'm going to take Justin Jefferson all day.
Love it. Baby Santa, what's going on? Thanks for coming by. We appreciate you coming in. Would you trade away Pitts and Bateman for Mike Evans and Breece Hall? We are seeing some love from Joshua that this trade is good. He has, for context, he has Ertz as his tight end. What are your thoughts, Mac?
If you're downgrading from Pitts to Ertz, so far it hasn't been a downgrade. It's actually been an improvement. You probably should have been playing Ertz instead.
Right.
But gaining Mike Evans is nice. And then the fantasy running back, who probably is one asset if I had to choose from the pool of running backs, Breece Hall would be one among probably Travis Etienne, Damien Pierce, Javonte Williams, that are going to ascend in value over the course of the season. So yes, I think having the Evans Hall side is much better, especially given that you can just replace Pitts with Ertz.
Yeah, I like it. So he was already leading towards accepting it. I like it too. Good luck, my friend. Hopefully that works out for you. Joshua coming in here.
He's just basically affirming what we are saying.
Right. So they're talking here. Okay, some chatter. Here we go.
Ricky M. Rest of season, would you pick up Craig Reynolds or James Cook? 12-team half PPR Superflex league. Love that.
Ooh.
I'm going to lean on James Cook.
Yeah, I think you have to. Craig Reynolds, I'm going to add in a super deep league, just as you're not going to start him this week. So you're only going to start him next week if something happens, or if the usage is good and something happens to Jamal. So really, Craig Reynolds is probably just a 1 week pick up and drop. So he's kind of a waste. So if you're there to stash a player, add James Cook. He's a stash. He might be a roster clog because he's on a good team. He's too good to drop. Mm-hmm. But, I still prefer the talent. I'm going to bet on the talent of James Cook over Craig Reynolds.
Would you try to trade away Michael Thomas or hold on to him? I would sell.
Yeah, I'm good to sell Michael Thomas. I mean, you're really having to trust in James Winston. How does that feel? Not great. So, yes, I would sell Michael Thomas, and you should get good return. He's got the big name, and he's got the fantasy points so far.
Yeah, like a little bit of low volume, a shallow average depth of target, and has gotten to the end zone 3 times in 3 weeks. So, again, another guy who's built some fantasy value on touchdown dependency, low volume, high efficiency. That's something over the long term that just isn't sustainable. So yes, I would definitely try to trade. Feeling your pain, Madeline. I am a big DeAndre Swift owner. I have Jamal Williams in a fair bunch of spots, but I wish I had him in more, to be honest with you. Damien Pierce, Devin Singletary, or Cam Akers this week. Man.
So Damien Pierce got quite a bit of work. That's really good to see. He looks like he kind of did in the preseason, and it's going to be between him and Singletary, I think. What are your thoughts about that? Like, Cam Akers feels like you can start him every other week.
Yeah, Cam Akers, I am not starting this week against San Francisco. They are a defense that every single time I underestimate them, they prove me completely wrong. Damien Pierce, though, against the Chargers is probably where I go here, to be completely honest with you.
I go Pierce as well over Singletary.
Yeah, the Bills just don't run the football enough. Like, Devin Singletary as a runner has looked pretty good, but Josh Allen had 70 dropbacks last game. Yeah. That doesn't leave a lot of room for the ball to be carried on the ground, right?
Now, so what I love to see, Singletary got 11 targets this past game. I just don't think that's really sustainable. But as far as their rushing, 8 attempts, 6 attempts, 9 attempts, none of that is good. Not very many yards. I don't expect him to be a pass-catching 9 reception running back, though.
McDermott's also proven that can be a carousel of targets. It was Zach Moss in week 1. It could be James Cook at any moment if they try to involve him. You just really never know. It's a very unpredictable backfield, just like the New England Patriots are. So I'm not looking to put any stock into Singletary. I will play Damien Pierce there.
Here we go.
Pete G. Jr. Duvernay or Miles Sanders for Javonte Williams. Duvernay and Miles Sanders for Javonte Williams. Good deal. If you are getting Javonte Williams, that is a thumbs up deal, my man. Absolute smash deal.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Correct.
Montgomery is my RB3. Should I look to trade away, and what value should I look to get? Jacob tough right now with him banged up and potentially out a week. You might have to wait on that one a little bit.
Yeah, if you can trade right now for whatever reason, I kind of would for healthy running back. Like we had lots of questions when Akers was healthy or was injured, sorry, trading him away. And if you can get a week of health for a very quality running back, I think you do that. So, yeah, if you can trade him, great.
Let's go to Henderson and Pickens for ETN. The ETN side, please.
I think so. Yeah, you just can't. Henderson has almost no value. Pickens is going to be a guy that will have big games, but I think he's not someone you can rely on.
Did you see the George Pickens interview he did on Twitter where he was, they were asking him about, his routes and his availability and
oh yeah, he's open every time. Like
he says, I think I'm open almost every time. Literally, I think everyone's open every single time. And sure enough, someone went back and looked at the aerial footage from the game and just dissected play over play over play. And if Mitch Trubisky can let a play develop for more than 2 seconds, Chase Claypool off a break is open 20 yards down the middle of the field. Deontay Johnson on an out route is wide open. George Pickens on a go route 50 yards down the field is like 10 yards past his corner. And he's not lying. They're literally wide open. And Mitch just checks it down to Naji in double coverage.
Oh, gosh.
On the play that he threw it to Naji kind of gave him the signal to toss it over, lead him. Mitch underthrew it, but on a crossing route had Deontay Johnson, 2 steps ahead of his man and would have been trailing Naji for the first down. And it's just the decision making is so questionable for Mitch Trubisky. He's not good at progressing through reads. He makes 1, 2, and then panics. He looks to check it down or throw it away. And it's this is tough. This is tough football to watch.
Yeah.
Also, Henderson has fallen. Super weird. Start of the year, dominating 82% snap share is now down to 50. Cam Akers is just gotten that job back, which is I just don't understand.
I don't know. I don't know what to do with them in LA. Henderson has value. It's just Akers needs to go down, or the other way around.
Yeah, I don't know. But yes, I would grab ETN for those two in a heartbeat. Should I trade Najee Harris away? I think that depends on who you can get.
Yeah.
So this is a tough question to ask answer without any context.
Yeah. I still think Najee, rankings wise, is a top 10 running back. He's getting lots of volume. He's on a bad team, but he's getting lots of volume. That is key. He catches the football. He's a really good talent.
Yeah.
Bad team, volume. If
he just gets every touch. There's no one there to compete with him for touches. He gets it all. And there's really not too many backs that you can name that get that kind of work anymore.
The 80% share of the work.
Go through the backs. Jonathan Taylor, he gets a lot of work, but Nyheim Hines eats in more than we want. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, no. Christian McCaffrey, yes. Saquon Barkley, yes. Derrick Henry, yes. Joe Mixon, yes.
Aaron Jones, no.
Leonard Fournette, yes. Najee Harris, yes.
Do you say Austin Eckler, no?
Austin Eckler, Alvin, I would say no anymore.
Kamara, no.
Javonte Williams, no. Dalvin Cook, questionably, yes.
I would say probably no. Madison gets them in there a fair amount.
James Robinson, no. Josh Jacobs, no. Miles Sanders, no. Ezekiel Elliott, no. Rashad Penny, no. Breece Hall, no. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, no. Devin Singletary, no. J.K. Dobbins, no.
I'll just draft wide receivers in the first round.
I'm just saying, the volume is king approach. There's a select number of backs in the league that get it, and yeah.
Correct.
What should I do with Garrett Wilson changing to Zach Wilson? I don't feel like he would get the same targets he got with Flacco.
Yeah, I mean,
also share that sentiment.
It's on record that Joe Flacco throws more catchable balls. We heard that from the mouth of Jets wide receivers. I am going to temper expectations this week for Garrett Wilson, where I started him every week last week. He's more of a flex play than an auto start. I want to see it first. I don't trust Zach Wilson. I don't think he's going to throw the ball 50 times.
And I think a reasonable approach is anytime you have a major change, a coaching change, a quarterback change, you should temper expectations for those players. So, if something happens and Joe Burrow goes down and, their backup has to come in. Yes, we're going to temper expectations for Jamar Chase, but it's like, I kind of have to play Jamar Chase because he's the best player on my team.
Right.
A guy like Garrett Wilson. Sorry, say that again.
Kind of like DK Metcalf.
Sure. Absolutely.
Now with Smith, he's super talented. You kind of have to start DK, but he's no longer that Jamar Chase level wide receiver.
Right. And it's like, if that were to happen to Jamar Chase, or Kirk Cousins goes down and their backup comes in, it's like, would I sit Justin Jefferson this week? Probably not, because the backup knows Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, those are my best players. I got to get the ball into their hands. So there might be some hyper targeting. But when you got a guy like Garrett Wilson, who you just picked up off waivers, or you drafted super late as an upside piece, and he pops, well, all of a sudden you feel like you have a dependency on this player, when in actuality you were cashing in on unrealized value. And now it's okay to just step back and say, you know what? I'm going to sit him down on my bench. If this plays out the way that I think, I can go back to him later, but I don't want to have to rely on him and then have to pay the price when Zach Wilson is the ultimate downfall for Garrett Wilson. So I'm okay sitting him down.
Yeah. I think if you have Elijah Moore, I think you kind of have to hold him, because Zach and Elijah had a better relationship.
Agreed.
So I don't think both of them aren't really starts right now. They're more flex plays, if anything, but there's upside now for Elijah going forward.
I traded Chase, Pitts, and Tua for Higgins, Kelsey, and Elijah Mitchell. Thoughts? Don't love it.
Yeah, I don't really love it either. Getting Kelsey over Pitts is great. Yep. And then Chase and Higgins, that's, I guess, you
could argue either way.
Yeah, I still prefer Chase, but Higgins isn't too far behind. Tua and Elijah Mitchell, Elijah Mitchell's on IR. I'm not trading for Elijah Mitchell right now.
And it's not even like Elijah Mitchell's on IR. He's on IR for 2 months. He's not expected to come back until the end of November.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't understand having Elijah Mitchell in that package. I think if it's somebody you could use now, then that would have been better. I do commend you, though, from upgrading from Pitts to Kelsey. If you could have done the deal without Elijah Mitchell, I think I would have felt differently about it.
But got someone even a Michael Carter level running back, someone you could at least if something happens to Breece, you have an every week starter, or you have an AJ Dillon type.
Well, just somebody you could use for the next 6 weeks.
That's true.
Because now you got to carry Elijah Mitchell on your team. Hopefully your league has an IR, but if you don't, it's a roster clogger. So yeah, Josh. If you like Higgins over Chase, cool. Kelsey over Pitts, full support on that one. I don't love the Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah,
it might play out, man. You never know.
Yep.
Should I trade Clyde, Curtis Samuel, and Lockett for Kelsey? I have a lot of depth. If your current tight end is, somebody not named Kyle Pitts, Darren Waller, George
Mark
Kittle,
Andrews,
then yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Sure. Yeah. Cool.
Should I trade Michael Thomas and Antonio Gibson for Kamara in a full PPR?
No.
I wouldn't.
No, I'll just keep Thomas and Gibson. Gibson's been very solid. He's a RB2 flex play. Kamara hasn't really been either of those so far. So,
opinion on Kamara and Tua. I did a trade for Chubb, Mike Williams, and Antonio Gibson, giving away Kamara and Cooks did I win the trade? I would say you absolutely won the trade.
Yeah, Ethan, good job, my friend.
Mike Williams is a boom bust player, but Nick Chubb is somebody that you can just rely on week in, week out. I just don't feel that same way about Alvin Kamara anymore.
Not yet.
No.
He's going to have to prove it to me that he's back to himself, getting like 10 targets a game, like 6, 7 targets a game.
I agree. Should I sell Devontae Smith high? Depends what you can get, my man.
Yeah,
just for example, I sold Devontae Smith and Drake London for Justin Jefferson today. So that's the type of sell high that you probably want to try to achieve. Other than that, enjoy the big game, enjoy the target share. I think there's more games like this to come for him.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very good. Mack has been on record to liking second-year wide receivers, and Devonta Smith checked every single box. He's on a good team. Eagles are rolling. You kind of want pieces in that offense. Dallas Goedert, looks like a top 5 tight end.
Yep.
Everyone does. Like, everyone in that offense is good.
Would you trade Jamal for Breece or Hopkins? I would be inclined to go for Breece.
I would also be inclined to go for Breece.
Temper expectations for Hopkins on the return as well. Just because he's on the field doesn't mean he's a top 12 wide receiver each week. He's going to probably take some time to be relevant again.
He wasn't that good last year when he was playing. He relied a lot on touchdowns.
He did.
So Kyler doesn't show like he's going to be that good either. Like, he's not that good as a passer right now. He's a good fantasy asset, but he's not that good of a passer.
Well, and bro, like, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 beta is out. The guy is so preoccupied with his other obligations in life.
This is true.
Wait till double XP weekends come. He's going to be off the rails.
Bench. He's sitting on the bench.
For a flex play, who would you guys start? Jeff Wilson, Juju, A-Rob, or Bateman?
It's between Jeff Wilson or Bateman for me.
Yeah, Juju and A-Rob, I think, would be your secondary options. It'd be between Bateman and Wilson. I just have to peep the matchup real quick for these two. Bateman has the Buffalo Bills, who are beat up, so let's acknowledge that. Jeff Wilson has the Rams. Ugh. I'm just gonna go Bateman.
Go upside with Bateman.
I've been 250-yard plus plays. He's got the big play in him.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson's been balling out. It's not far-fetched to say that they beat the Bills,
Yeah. Juju's one of those players that you kind of have to play him each and every week if you want to get the big games. After that bad week 2, he had a good week 3. Now that he's got Tampa Bay, is he going to have a good or bad? It's hard to say. Probably bad, but who knows? Like, it's going to be – it's so distributed in Kansas City. It's hard to trust.
Would we trade Aaron Jones, Mike Evans, George Kittle, and Jamal Williams for Saquon, Kirk or Sutton, Pitts, and Edmonds?
Aaron Jones, Mike Evans, George Kittle, Jamal Williams for Saquon. Okay. Yeah.
So let's look at this. Aaron Jones or Saquon? I would rather have Saquon.
Yep.
Mike Evans or
Sutton.
Christian Kirk or Sutton? I would take Mike Evans.
Yeah.
George Kittle or Kyle Pitts? We'll call that a wash.
Yeah, pretty much. Neither have proven anything. Like,
Jamal
Pitts
Williams
had a good game.
Jamal Williams or Chase Edmonds. Even as a complimentary role, Jamal Williams has been better.
Yeah.
Who's the best player in the entire deal? Saquon Barkley.
Saquon, yeah.
But let's face it, Saquon down to Aaron Jones is not that big of a jump. So I like the Aaron Jones side here.
Yeah. I think you're pretty like if I had the Aaron Jones, Mike Evans, Kittle, Jamal Williams team, like, I'm just good with that. I don't need to trade.
Right.
I don't need to trade it.
Right. It also, when you involve so many pieces in a deal, it almost feels unnecessary in the end. Like, target the player you actually want, and at worst, do a 2-for-1.
Yeah, try to trade for Saquon then, if you can. Like,
sure.
Or if you really love Pitts, let's Saquon and Pitts for Kittle and Aaron Jones. It's very lateral. That's a super lateral.
That's the problem. It's lateral, right?
Yeah.
It's like, could you take Aaron Jones and a tertiary wide receiver and go get Saquon?
Right. Yeah, maybe. Yep.
Could you go Garrett Wilson and Aaron Jones for Saquon? Someone you got late or off waivers?
Yeah, maybe. What about Saquon and Marquise Brown kind of thing?
Sure. Yeah. To get an upgrade.
Yeah.
Naji and Ertz for Kelsey and Connor. Oh boy. I much prefer Naji to Connor.
Yeah.
Ertz and Kelsey, it's like you're kind of downgrading the exact same amount in each spot. So
I'm not trying to get Connor. So try to get someone else than Connor. Just see what other running back they have. If they want Naji, they can pay up for him. Sure. But Connor's not a guy I want.
I think you're okay with Naji and Ertz, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
I have Waddle and St. Brown. Should I trade Chase, Saquon, and Pitts for Henry, Zeke, and Kelsey?
No, keep Chase, Saquon, and Pitts. Agreed. I think.
No, agreed. Yeah, I don't want Zeke.
Yeah.
I don't want him at all.
And Pitts still has the upside. He has the upside to get to that Kelsey level.
Hey, he got more targets last game than he did the first two, so we'll take it. Hollywood and Antonio Gibson for James Conner and Khalil Herbert. I get Connor, also Emma Montgomery owner. No.
Keep Hollywood and Gibson.
Correct.
Max.
How well do you guys think Godwin is going to do once he comes back? I will tell you the minute he is available, I will play him.
Yeah, I think you have to play him as soon as he starts. I like that he's getting some rest. I'd rather not them rush him back like they did week 1 just for him to get banged up again. He had a limited practice this week. Yeah, of course I hope he plays, but if he keeps getting this rest, I mean that should be better and better for his fantasy outlook. I do think he's that league winning type wide receiver that you can get right now for cheap. As long as you can afford to stash him and bench him, you could trade for him easily for people that are desperate and that are 0-3, 1-2.
100%. Yeah, no, he's somebody who just commands a target share the minute he's available. Tom Brady has a huge comfort level with him, and he's just a PPR machine. So yes, I will play him the minute he's active.
Love it.
Would we trade James Robinson for Naji straight up, or James Robinson, Amari Cooper, Tyler Boyd for Christian McCaffrey? I would do the Robinson and Naji straight up. I think Amari Cooper's getting far too targeted to let him walk in a 3-for-1 deal.
Yeah, I want the Naji side, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, just want to confirm that.
Yeah, so I assume because Robinson in both deals, right. he has Robinson. But yes, I would pivot off Robinson, sell high on that running back 3 position he currently holds, and get somebody who just has the entire workload. So absolutely. Trade Kyler Murray for Javonte Williams. S. Morris, can you just tell us who you have currently at quarterback and who your other running backs are? Because that really, truly does make the difference in these types of questions. Is it a super flex league? Is it a 2 QB league? Is it a single quarterback? Those details really help us give you the best advice.
Yeah. In a vacuum, yes. Typically, I like trading away a quarterback for a position like running back because you can stream the quarterback position a lot easier.
Yes.
If you have a Jared Goff type, I mean, yeah, I think I still do that. You have Jared Goff to start. He's a top 14-ish quarterback, and you have Javonte as an upgrade as a top 12 guy. If you have one of the studs, the elite guys, you'd smash and do that deal, no question. If you're running with Marcus Mariota or Geno Smith, maybe you just keep Kyler Murray and just try to get a quarterback thrown in a different deal. I don't know, if you need running back, you get get a Gibson and a who else?
I'm going to assume that this is probably a shallower league, like an 8 to 10 team league, because you typically just don't see elite tier running backs get traded away for quarterbacks in many leagues, right? You just don't have the depth to be able to pull off a trade like this. So,
or add something to Kyler and go get a Lamar Jackson.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Right. So if you want to give us those details, as Morris, we're happy to give you some feedback. For those of you that are just watching, we'll hang around for 5 or 10 more minutes if you have some questions. If you haven't already, click that like button or subscribe to the channel. We do this every single Wednesday and Sunday, 90 minutes before kickoff. We get you guys ready for the week. Some really good chatter early about Thursday night preview, what to do with Jamar Chase, some popular decisions between pairings, like a James Robinson or Travis Etienne, and then answering your question.
Tesh coming in here with more questions.
Maybe Saquon and Kirk for Jones and Mike Evans. He's going to have competition come back at some point, I feel. No. But that's never been a problem before with Chris Godwin. They've been top 5 receivers when supported by Jameis Winston. They've been top 12 wide receivers with Tom Brady. They've never eaten into each other's workload.
Yeah.
Mike Evans is a more touchdown, like a red zone heavy guy, and Chris Godwin's a more voluminous play. But Mike Evans and Chris Godwin will get their own, so I'm not worried about them.
And I do prefer Courtland Sutton to Christian Kirk. I know Christian Kirk's been good, and his relationship with Trevor Lawrence has been elite, but I still prefer the Courtland Sutton to Christian Kirk. Maybe I'll be wrong on that rest of season, but that's where my gut goes.
No, I'm with that too. Do we trade James Robinson and Mike Thomas for Kamara? I don't.
Yeah, I'm not trying to. I'd try to get another elite running back. Like, there's so few right now. They're all kind of disappointing. Like, if obviously you can get a Saquon, that's great. If you can get a Jonathan Taylor, that's great. But like an Eckler has me worried a little bit.
The problem here, though, with a 2-for-1 like this is this trade only works if your trade partner has a need at wide receiver. If they're flush at wide receiver, Mike Thomas doesn't really do anything for them.
Sure. Yeah. Right? I mean, J-Rob is a good sell high. Like, if their running backs are struggling, like Kamara has, maybe they're chasing those points.
Yeah, sure. Or maybe they have Justin Jefferson, or they took a shot on Chris Godwin or DeAndre Hopkins, and that they're now waiting for them to be available, and they just need someone to plug in. You're like, I'll part with this running back for someone I can plug in who's doing really well and a wide receiver. That's an easy departure from your team. But yeah, I would aim higher than Kamara. Like Austin Eckler would be a really good target right now.
Yeah, I like that. Kamara just not doing it for me. I need to see it first, and once he does it, once we see those targets, then maybe I'm into it, but not yet.
Trade Aaron Jones and Terry McLaurin for AJ Brown and Kareem Hunt.
So downgrade at running back, but upgrade at receiver.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I'll just keep Aaron Jones and Terry McLaurin. I think McLaurin still has the upside. Tough game for the Commanders last week, but I think there's some good chance that he'll come back to being that top kind of 15-ish guy.
Yeah. Aaron Jones just has the ability to win you a week, much like AJ Brown. Terry McLaurin and AJ Brown are not wildly dissimilar. Like, AJ Brown has had a really hot start to the season, but Terry McLaurin is just a locked and loaded top 25 wide receiver. So I would just keep your side.
I mean, Terry had a good game 9 targets, 102 yards. Just didn't get in the end zone.
He's fine. Like, he's just reliable. He's safe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Should I trade Thielen for DK? Feels lateral.
Yeah, I prefer DK.
Okay. Sure. Chubb or Aaron Jones rest of season? Feel like Chubb has to come back down to earth, and Jones has more upside, but not sure.
You hit that right on the head.
Yeah. The thing with Aaron Jones is, like, the Green Bay Packers are struggling at wide receiver. Their best 2 players are their running backs, and Aaron Jones has already proven to you that the squeaky wheel gets the grease and that he can literally win you a week with one performance. Like, the guy has the ability to score 3 touchdowns in a game, and he's done it multiple times. Nick Chubb is going to be your more reliable fantasy asset. So if you want a more home run hitting style player, you go with an Aaron Jones who could win you a week. If you want someone who's just going to give you, your baseline of 12 to 15 points with the upside of 25 to 30, you go with Nick Chubb. But I think by the end of the year, it's going to be very close. How you get there might be completely different. So Nick Chubb is the more talented player, though. Let's put that out there.
Speaking of home run hitting players, Judge 61 half an hour ago.
Oh wow!
In Toronto.
Good for him. Oh yeah, sweet.
Wild.
I don't follow baseball. I heard the footballers talking. Could you name 20 players in the MLB right now?
No chance.
No chance.
No.
I could name 20 baseball players like all time. Probably name 100. But right now, like no chance.
No. Even like if I could I name like three or four basketball players per team? I don't think so either.
Yeah, you could.
But like on every team though, like I have to hit every team and get say 5 players per team? No. Or 4 players per team?
You don't think you could do a starting lineup per team?
Nope.
Give me the Raptors.
No, like the Raptors. I mean, I'm in football mode. I don't even think I can name one. But
come on, like, Pascal, Gary Trent,
Freddie Van Vliet, OG Anunoby,
sure, Scotty Barnes,
of course, Scotty Barnes, and
there's 5.
Yeah, but I mean that's our home team. Like
sure,
like give me like Wizards. Give me 5 players on the Wizards right now.
Man, that's the thing is I honestly haven't watched basketball as much as I used to. Like I used to be big into fantasy. I used to be able to rattle off almost every single player like I do basketball.
Sure. Football, you mean?
Sorry.
Yeah.
like I do football.
Yeah.
Man. Okay.
Like Bradley you recognize, Beal. Like I'm looking at
Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
Rui Hachimura.
Yeah.
Would be 2. Their team's really falling apart though. They have Kuzma. They have Kyle Kuzma.
They did trade for him, yeah.
3-point shooter, Corey Kispert.
Okay.
That's 4.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I could name another.
A guy I used to like from the Raptors, DeLon Wright. He's on that team.
Is DeLon Wright on there now?
Looks like it. I'm on there. Kristaps Porzingis is also on the team.
See, that's a massive miss. There's no way that you can miss that.
No.
And I did.
I think it'd be hard. I think it'd be really, really hard. I could not do that. Maybe. No chance.
The Wizards was actually a really good choice by you. I had to think deep in the brain on that one.
I don't have that. All right. Let's get back to football.
Regular programming. I have Jones and Eckler at running back and Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Christian Kirk at the wide receiver and flex, Ertz at tight end. What do you guys do? Should I upgrade my starters?
Man, you are good. Like you can shop Christian Kirk, I think. Like if you want to try to get a elite tight end, I think getting like a Mark Andrews would put you over the top.
I think having James Robinson and Travis Etienne on your bench, like go and package a J-Rob and an Ertz and upgrade that tight end. Find someone who's running back needy because you just don't need to have Robinson and Etienne on the same team. It limits your upside. You kind of got to pick a lane, and the easiest sell right now is James Robinson. So I would definitely try to do a package with him. You could take Michael Thomas and him. Go basically try to package James Robinson with a need for the other team and try to upgrade. But I do agree with Landon. The tight end position is the one that I would
target. So hopefully
Mark Andrews.
The Swift owner has Mark Andrews. Like that'd be perfect, right?
That would be picture perfect.
Or Kelsey or something like that. Then you're laughing. That's how.
Look at the tight ends that the Montgomery owner has, the Swift owner has, the Kamara owner has.
Mm-hmm.
Go look at those 3 teams and say, can I target you, Mark Andrews, replace Mark Andrews with Ertz, and upgrade your DeAndre Swift, who's out for 3 weeks, for James Robinson, who's the running back 3?
To me, there's a big 3 over Zach Ertz. You got obviously Kelsey, Waller, and Andrews. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not ready to put Pitts there yet because I haven't seen it, and same with Kittle.
And Kittle struggled. Sure.
Yeah. So look at those 3.
Agreed. Thoughts on Tua and Brady, and who should I start? I am not starting Tua this week if I can choose otherwise. If he's gonna get Evans back, but I think Godwin and Julio are still out, so Brady might have it in tough. But I think I go Brady this week.
Yeah, it's close.
It's close.
I think I would probably go Tua against Cincinnati this week, but
okay. Different league. Trade Kelsey, Deontay, and Kareem Hunt for Higbee, Aaron Jones, McLaurin, Josh Palmer. Wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Deontay, AJ Brown. Running backs are bad. Hines, Kareem Hunt, and CEH. I get your upgrade at I get your upgrade from Kareem Hunt to Aaron Jones feels like the right move from your team, but the downgrade from Kelsey to Higbee is probably losing you more points than going from Jones to Hunt. Yeah. So,
I mean, I love that you guys want to make these trades, but
yeah,
I think you can do better.
I think you can do better as well.
Getting Higbee and Josh Palmer is such a downgrade.
Yeah, exactly. I would. Honestly, if you want to improve your team and do so with a running back like Kareem Hunt and a wide receiver, to try to leave Travis Kelce out of it, because he's the positional advantage you have on, if you're in a 10-team league, you have a positional advantage on 50% of your league mates.
Yeah.
At best, if we're giving that positional advantage to Kittle and Pitts, but really, truly, it's probably more like 70% of your league.
Like 70%. So right away, like if you have a Lamar and a Kelsey, like you have such an advantage over
such
your
an
league
advantage. Mates. Agreed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if Kareem Hunt just puts 12 points up rest of season, yeah, he's not gonna have the Aaron Jones 30-point boom week, but you don't need it.
Travis Kelce is going to be the leading wide receiver for the Chiefs by a long shot.
Yeah.
And at the tight end position is just going to finish 1 or 2, depending on how many times Mark Andrews gets into the end zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you got to keep Kelce. If you can do the deal and upgrade a running back without losing Travis Kelce, I think you're better off. Should I go for DK, DJ Moore, or Cordero Patterson at the flex?
So we're sitting down DJ Moore, even
Correct.
Against Arizona.
Correct. You have to sit him. I would probably go Cordero Patterson and then DK Metcalf.
Yeah. Patterson had a ton of volume this past week. I've been a Patterson hater. I'll admit to that. But that week too, I was right. It felt like 10 rushing attempts for 41 yards, and that was it. And then he goes out and goes 17 for 141 and a tutty. Like, he shut me up for reals. Against Cleveland, it's a tough defense, but they probably don't have Myles Garrett. And
yes, that's big.
Yeah, so I think you're probably fine going Cordero.
I'm playing Cordero. Yeah.
Yeah. DK is great, but it doesn't matter if it's full PPR, I don't think.
No. Anyways, guys, we are gonna drop.
Yeah, we stuck around longer because y'all had questions, so appreciate you coming through.
Appreciate you guys a lot. Make sure that you hit that like button before you leave. Subscribe to the channel. We will have more content for you the rest of the week. We also go live 90 minutes before kickoff on Sunday. So we do the exact same thing. Start, sit, get you guys ready. All the news, all the updates, whatever you guys need to win on the week, we got you covered. Thanks so much. Appreciate you coming by. We will see you on Sunday. Good luck in your Thursday matchup. Go Bengals. And sit Tua. I'm telling you, just do it.